Well, good morning, everyone. There are so many of you that have joined us, and we're so happy and excited to be doing this session with you this morning. My name's Fiona Goddard, and I'm one of the senior education consultants at Whizz Education. And I've got a colleague with me, and I'll pass over to him so he can introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name's Matt. I work for Whizz Education as an education success partner. It's great to see so many of you on the call today. And do get involved with the activities. We're really pleased to welcome you to our Maths-Whizz Extravaganza, our brand new one for this year. So do get involved on the chat and have a go at the activity you can see on the screen.
Great, thank you. Right, I'll just do a few admin things. So we really want you to engage with us this morning, and the best way to do that is to put things in the chat, because when we're doing lots of activities, we'd like to know what your thoughts are or what your answers are. So just pop it in the chat. Now, we've secured the chat now, so only we can see your answers. No one else can see them, so that you're not then being bombarded with lots of other people's responses. So that's how we're going to work the chat this morning. It's going to be about 45 minutes that we're going to be doing this session for. And everything that we do today is going to come to you then in a handout. So all these fun activities you can actually do in your own time, whether that be in school or whether that be at home. So don't panic thinking, oh, I need more time to do this. I haven't got quite the resources to do it. Don't worry, just relax and enjoy today's session, and then you can do these activities again in your own time. So that's how it's all going to work today. Now, whilst we've been waiting for you all to join us, we had a little challenge, which you can see on the screen now. And we're looking at estimates. So just roughly how many do we think? So there's lots of different photos on the screen, and we wondered if you've got any idea estimating as to how many. So we've got polar bears left in the world, leaves on a tree, feathers on an African parrot. How old are icebergs? Anyone know that one? Stripes on a tiger. You might be able to work that one out if you do a bit of counting. And how many eggs a female turtle lays in her nest? And then I love this one. This is, I think, my favourite one. How many times per second do bees flap their wings? So they're all guesses. It doesn't matter if they're wrong, but we would love to see what you think. So if you could start putting those in the chat now, that would be really exciting. So I'll give you a few seconds, just have a little think and discussion about it.
Oh, I've got lots of good answers coming in, Fiona. I can see 5,000 polar bears is one of the estimates for how many polar bears are left in the world. I can see 200 turtle eggs in the nest. Or the bee one, we've got 56 beats per second. And I can see, icebergs, 500,000 years.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, no, we've got a real range, though. We've got some with 23 polar bears left in the world.
Gosh, I hope there's more than 23, because that would be really sad, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean, these are all estimates. It's absolutely great. So let's have a think, because I think we're going to get so bombarded with the chat ourselves, Matt. Let's think. So polar bears, what do we think then? How many do we think are left in the world? Oh, got that. Well, I'll tell you. The scientists, obviously, it's just an estimate, as they say, but the scientists, from their research that they do, and across the whole of the world, not just in one area, they think there's about 26,000 polar bears left in the world, which does sound a lot, but I think compared to what there used to be, numbers are dwindling. So it is really sad, but yeah, okay. What should we pick next then, Matt? What's the next one that's coming through a lot in the chat?
I can see a lot about the parrot, actually, which is
okay.
So we've got 3,000 feathers on the parrot. That's one of the guesses. I can see another one that's 1,000. So we're thinking in the thousands here.
Okay, good.
Yeah, 9,500 feathers on a parrot.
Yeah, and do you know, we're being quite mean, really, because it really depends on the size of the bird, doesn't it, as to how many feathers and the age of the bird. But they use their feathers to keep them warm, to keep them dry, and also to help them fly. So they do need these feathers. And for an African parrot, apparently, once again, it's only an estimate, there's about 8,000 feathers or more So that's how many feathers an African parrot has. Okay, you know, I'm going to choose the next one. Can we do the bee? Because that's my favourite. I do love bees. And I find this quite astounding, this one. So how many times per second, that's per second, do bees flap their wings?
So got lots of answers on this one. It does seem to be a really popular one. We've got 320 flaps of a wing per second. We've got 56 beats of the wing per second. So we're thinking between those tens and hundreds somewhere.
Yeah.
250, that's quite a popular answer. 100, 200. I wonder who's closest.
Yeah, well, they can, your estimates are within the range, actually. I mean, I just think it's astounding. They say it's roughly around 200 times a second, which I think is incredible. That's why I think when we see them flying, it's just a blur because it's so fast. But yeah, some really good estimates. They're getting in the right sort of numbers, the range. That's really good. Right, where should we go to next? Let's choose another one.
I think leaves on the tree is a popular one. So we've got lots of answers for that one. We've got 1,250. That was one of the ones that's come in. All the way up to 60,000.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think, once again, we've been a bit unfair because we've just shown you a picture of a tree. And actually, if it's a young tree, it might not have so many leaves. If it's a quite mature tree, it will have a lot more leaves, and then it depends on the type of tree as well. But we're saying estimates, aren't we? So I'm just looking at my notes. It is a large number. This is on a mature, healthy tree, and it can have up to 200,000 leaves. So a lot of leaves. I think they all, in the autumn, when all the leaves come from the tree, I think that's where they all fall on my driveway, because my driveway always gets so full of leaves. And I'm sure there must be 200,000 then. So yeah, a lot of leaves on some of our trees. Okay, should we do just one more maybe before we move on?
Stripes on the tiger.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
That's my favourite. So we've got lots saying 40 stripes on a tiger. We think it's in the tens.
Okay.
Got some that are saying 80, some as high as 100. Let's see, have we got any others? Yeah, 30, 40, 80. Yeah, I think we're thinking in the tens, Fiona. What do you think?
Well, from my research, they say they could have up to and over 100 stripes. And they're really important, the stripes for a tiger, because it helps with their survival. It helps to camouflage them. So when they're in long grasses and in the trees, if they're in between all of that, then it's more difficult for predators, or even sometimes we do have humans that kill them as well, don't we, unfortunately? So it just helps to keep them camouflaged within their natural habitat. So yeah, about 100 stripes. So yeah, some nice guesses there. Really good. Well, the reason why we've been showing you these pictures is because at Whizz, like I think many of us are, we're quite concerned about, we live in such a beautiful world with so many amazing things in nature, but we do know that the behaviours of us and many like us, we're doing things maybe that are causing harm now to our environment. And so we've been on a big campaign now, because we're calling it Building for a Greener Future. And we've got a summer challenge going on this summer called exactly that. It's called Building for a Greener Future. And we've got, there's 8 mini projects that you can have a go at. And they're just really exciting things, activities to do, making you really think about the environment that you're in and how you can look after it, because we want to actually try and stop global warming. We want to try and change that so that we're not having so much climate change, we're not having so many floods, so many really hot days and things like that. We really want to see if we can do things, and if each of us does something little, that can make sometimes a really big impact. Because they reckon if we carry on like we are, by the time we get to year 2100, now we're 2022 at the moment, so how many years time? That's not many years time. See if you can work that one out. Do a quick maths whilst I'm talking. So they reckon in that many years' time, around 50% of our world species could go extinct. And that's all because of climate change and what we've been doing to our world. So, yeah, I love it. Some things are coming through in the chat now. You're right. It is only in 78 years' time. Now, I might not be around then, but I'm sure some of you will be. Try and work out how old you'll be. You could be still around by then, and I'm sure you wouldn't want your world like that. So that's why we're doing it, just to make awareness, just to be really thinking about our environment. Okay, well, we're going to move on. We've got a nice activity that Matt's going to do with you now.
Brilliant, thanks Fiona. So we're going to kick the next activity off by thinking about the shapes in nature. So I'm just wondering if you've ever, while you've been out and about at the weekend or going for a walk, whether you've had a look around and noticed the shapes and the patterns that you might find in nature. So you might know that mathematics actually forms lots of the building blocks that you see in the natural world. And there's loads of stunning ways that you can actually see this when you're out on your walks. And you might have noticed them before, but you actually might not have taken the time just to have a little look at some of the flowers and plants that you might be able to see on this slide. And what we're going to start off with is to see if you can name the shapes related to the pictures. So which shapes can you see in those pictures, and where in nature does it come from? You can see they're all numbered, so you can refer to a number that you might be able to say. So for example, I'm going to give one away here. So you might type in the chat, for instance, number 2, and then it's a hexagon, and it's a honeycomb that comes from. So from that picture, I can see the hexagon shape in there. I know it's pattern number 2, so I'm going to put that in there. And then it's a honeycomb where I've seen that one before. So we would love if we could get your answers for this in the chat, just to have a look and see how many of those you can name. Can you name the shape, and where does it come from in nature? There's some really tricky ones in there that are really quite challenging. So I'll be really interested to see if you can get some of those. So I'm going to give you a second just to think about that. Yeah, I can see some answers coming in already.
I think you meant number 1. You said number 2.
Oh, did I? Sorry, I'm confusing you. Sorry. Number 1. Number 2 is definitely not a honeycomb. Ignore that one. Right, I can see some coming in then.
Gosh, lots coming in. Got number 3 is a snake, but I wonder what the shape is. It's an interesting one, that one. I'm going to put a hexagon. So a hexagon for number 3 with the snake.
I can see a hexagon for the giraffe in number 2. Someone spotted.
Yeah.
Great. Got lots of 2s and 1s going on, and 3s. I think it gets harder as you go along. What do you think, Fiona?
Some of them are quite tricky. They are very, yeah. I think number 7 and number 8 are, and yeah, I think they are especially tricky. Oh. Right, we've got, oh gosh, lots coming in now. So someone's saying a tortoise for the number 4 and a hexagon. And there's quite a few hexagons in nature actually, because number 5 they're saying a hexagon again for the giant causeway. Very good, yeah, nice. Very good.
Nice reference.
Yeah. So someone's got, oh, that's nice. So for number 11, they've put an oblong, but it's also, you can see some circles, spirals as well, but a spider's web. So absolutely right.
Or number 10.
Oh, number 7. Someone's actually guessed that one. Well done. They've said hexagon. And you know what? I think each time you look, you can see a different shape, but they're right. It's a red cabbage. Sorry, Matt, you were saying number 10.
Yeah, I can see a number. I think they might have meant number 9 because they've put pineapple, which is a good spot.
Right.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Oh,
snake.
And another shape for the snake. Someone's seeing a rhombus, so that's very good. Yeah.
I think we'll just give it. I wonder if anyone can have a go at number 8. I think number 8 is the trickiest.
Yeah.
We'll figure that one out. That'd be really a really tricky one, and then we'll have a look at some of the answers and just see. Yeah, still got a few. Oh, number 6, a tree trunk circle. Yeah, definitely. Oh, someone's close. Oh, number 8. Well, I think that's seriously impressive.
Absolutely.
Number 8. Lots of ones about ferns. So I can see that shape, you know, when you're out on your walk in a forest and you see a fern. Definitely that curled shape, but someone has answered correctly for that one. I tell you what, should we go through them, Fiona, and just put everyone out their misery and give them their
Can do. Do you want me to go through them, or are you going to go through them?
I'm happy to do that. That's fine.
Yeah, okay, go on then.
So lots of you have already said with number 1, you can see the hexagon is the bee's honeycomb. So well done. Number 2, you can see an irregular polygon there, which was the giraffe. Actually, a lot of those shapes are very just slightly irregular, aren't they? Yeah. But we did have a few coming through for the giraffe one. Number 3, there was the rhombus shape, and it came on the snake's skin. Number 4 was a hexagon, and lots of you spotted that that was a turtle shell, so well done. Number 5, yeah, someone rightly said it was the Giant's Causeway with the stones, which was a hexagon. Number 6 was the circle, it was the tree trunk, so well done, got that. Number 7, I think I saw that someone answering this correctly, it was a red cabbage, and it was an irregular polygon, because there's lots of different irregular shapes in there. Number 8 was a spiral pattern, and someone did answer this correctly. Lots of you said fern. I can see someone's just put in the chat cactus as well, but well done to whoever said aloe vera, because that is what that one is. So well done, great spot. Must be some real naturists there that kind of know their plants. Number 9 was a semicircle, and that was, you were absolutely right, the pineapple. Number 10 was circular, and it was a sunflower. So I'm not sure I saw that one come up actually, but well done for having your guesses. And number 11, it was some quadrilaterals, and they were all different because they were in the spider's web. So they're not quite perfect, they're all slightly different, but they were all quadrilaterals. And number 12 was another irregular polygon, and it was, lots of you got that one, it was a leaf. So well done for spotting those. So what I would say is next time that you are out and about, have a look and see where you can see those shapes we've spoken about, and see if you can find them anywhere else, because there's loads of places in nature where you can see those. So brilliant, really good effort on the chat there. Well done.
I just want to give a big shout out to someone that's just put for number 10, Fibonacci as well, the sequence there. I mean, absolutely incredible, because we haven't gone into those details today, but there's lots of fractals as well. So there's loads of mathematics within nature. So that's that was a really good shout, whoever did that. Well done. Okay.
Fabulous. Right, I think we're going to move on to our next activity now. And we are really going to need your ideas for this one, because it's there's lots of answers. It's one of those mathematical problems where there's lots of answers that you can give, and we'd love to hear how creative you can be, because lots of maths is about being creative and coming up with your own answers to things. So you can see on the screen there are 4 shapes. And all we're going to do to begin with is ask you in the chat to name those shapes, and then we're going to reveal their names. So who can name those shapes? Let's see. Lots of answers already coming in. I can feel furious typing going on. Yeah, you're all starting on the left-hand side there. So we've got lots of hexagons for that one coming in. There you go. Well done. What about that blue one? Slightly tricky. I can see some answers just coming in now that say rhombus, some that say parallelogram, some that say trapezium. Interesting. So that blue one is actually a rhombus, but keep some of those in mind because you're going to need them for the next one. So what about the red one there? Oh, someone's gone on to the,
yeah, wow, yeah. Red one. They're all coming in.
So red one, we've got a trapezium there. Very good, lots of you got that one. And we did have someone who's already hopped onto that green one, and they said triangle, and they said equilateral triangle. Very nice. Good triangular knowledge there. Excellent. Okay, so we know what those shapes are. What we're going to ask you to do and put in the chat for us is to see whether you can find which is the odd one out and why. So don't just say the trapezium, because that doesn't really tell us anything about why you think it's the odd one out. See if you can think of the most creative reason that you think one of those shapes is the odd one out. So we're looking for, you might think, the hexagon is the odd one out, and then you can give us a reason. So there'll be a bit of typing for someone to do at the computer, but it'd be really interesting to find out. Oh, I've already got some coming in. Really good. So we've got triangle as it has an odd number of sides. So what do you think? Yeah, are we? Yeah.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, really good start. So we've got triangle because it's the odd number of sides. Yeah, in fact, 2 people thought that. So great minds think alike there. And then, oh, interesting, another triangle one. Very nice. So triangle because it has no parallel lines.
Brilliant.
Oh, we're all going for the triangle.
Well, trapezium because all the others have equal sides.
Oh, that's an interesting one that we can probably look at in a minute, actually, can't we?
Yeah.
Nice. So
yeah. I'm liking the mathematical language that's coming through here. It's good.
Yeah, really good. They've obviously been thinking about parallel lines quite a lot recently, I think.
Yeah.
Coming in. That's great.
I wonder if anyone could mention anything about the angles.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got rhombus, the only one without symmetry. I'm liking the reference to symmetry there. The trapezium is the only one with the odd lengths of sides. Interesting. Lots of good mathematical language.
Lovely. Yeah. So anything about angles? Anything about angles?
Seen any angle ones yet? I'm wondering about maybe the inside angles, something to do with that. See if
I'll tell you what, I like it. It's starting to come through. Shall I go over onto the other screen just so we can start talking about that? Okay. So here I've got the 4 shapes that we've been talking about, and I've got an angle measurer or a protractor, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to start with the triangle because someone's mentioned in the chat that the triangle has got acute angles in there. So acute means that it's less than 90 degrees. So let's have a go. So here I've got 90 degrees and they're absolutely right. So they are acute angles in our triangle. Anyone know, because this is an equilateral triangle, anyone know the size of that angle? I'll move my angle measurer around. Now this particular template, we've actually put a link to it in the handout, so you can have a go with this as well. It's great fun. So interior angles of an equilateral triangle are 60 degrees. Well done, it's coming through the chat as well. Now, there's something special about all of these shapes and their angles that connect them together. So I'm going to show you some of the others as well. So let's go for the hexagon. Any idea about the angles within a hexagon? So what about the interior angles here? So it's obviously, we haven't got anything at 60 degrees. So I go up here to 90. So actually, has a hexagon got any acute angles, I wonder? Have a think. But I'm going further and further. There we go. So a hexagon, the angles, the interior angles are 120 degrees. And if I move this round, it's quite clever. If I move it round, you see, you can see again. So if I move it around again, you can see once again, so all of the interior angles within a hexagon are 120. Now, a little think, what's the relationship between 120 and 60? Have a little think. Right, let's have a look at these two then. So if I take the trapezium, now there are 2 different angles within a trapezium. Now, obviously I know we get different shaped trapeziums, but we're looking at this sort of standard one that tends to show its face most of the time. So with this one, I've got 60. So it must be here and here. These interior angles are going to be 60. So if I turn it around, what are the angles going to be here? So let me move it into, I'm drawing funny things now. Draw it into position. So this angle here definitely is not 60. Any guesses what it might be? I'm seeing the link, 120, 60 is half. Absolutely right. So, let's get this right. So within this trapezium, we've got 60 and 60, 120, 120. So what about our rhombus then? What do we think? Once again, we've got 2 different size angles. We've got these adjacent angles here, and we've got these 2 here. So let's have a look. So if I swivel this around, any guesses? What do you think it's going to be? 60. But if I turn it around and go to the other interior angle, so as you can see, it's not 60. I think we can all guess what it's going to be. It is going to be 120. Now, we're going to play a game. And I want you to have a think about, whilst we're playing this game, what's happening to all of these shapes, because we're then going to move on to something else. And I want you just to have a little think in your heads about what you think these shapes all have in common, and why the angles are 60 and 120, and why it works when we play this game. So let's go back to our board, and I'll leave Matt to introduce the game to you.
Great, sounds good. Right, so we're going to play, as Fiona said, a game called Last Shape Wins. Now, we are going to play through this game and show you how it works, but in your resource packs, you're going to be able to play this with a partner, so you will definitely get to have a go at this. Now, whenever we play these games, Fiona always beats me, so I'm going to need your help to suggest some moves to beat her on this occasion, so I don't lose again to Fiona. These are the rules that you can see on the side here, so it's a game for 2 players. First of all, you take turns placing one shape on the game board. Each new shape needs to touch one of the shapes already on the board. So if I put one of the shapes on there, my next move, then the other person's move needs to touch the shape that I put on there. And then the player who places the piece that completes the rhombus wins the game. So as Fiona mentioned, watch what happens when you start putting these shapes on the board, and watch what's really special about them as we complete this game. So are you ready, Fiona?
I hope I am. I might need some help. I feel a lot of pressure now to win.
Who would like to go first? Shall I go first?
Go on, you go first, yeah.
Okay, right. So I'm going to start off, and then once I've done that, I'm going to ask for some help from you in the chat, just to make sure we don't lose to Fiona on this one. Right. So I'm going to place my hexagon there. Okay.
Do you know, I think I'm going to try and cover the board as much as possible to begin with. So I'm going to also use a hexagon, and I'm going to place it there. I'm touching yours, so I'm within the rules. Okay.
Brilliant. Right. I'm wondering in the chat whether someone can suggest the next shape they think I should use. So I wonder if there's a strategic move that we can make here to make sure we don't lose. Oh, I can see some suggestions coming in already. That sounds good. All right. Okay. We've got the triangle suggested. Now, lots of triangles suggested, so I definitely need to, what do we think? I think here. So I'm going to use the triangle. Thank you. I'm going to pop the triangle there, and I'm going to see what Fiona does next.
Right, I'm going trapezium. Oh, I'm following. I think I'm just nicking one of the moves that someone's just said for yourself, but there we go. It's a good move, so I'm going to do it. I've put the trapezium above the hexagon. Thank you for that.
Right, I'm going to use the rhombus next. I'm going to pop that there. Let's see what
nice one. I like that. Okay.
I'm touching those 2 hexagons, so I'm okay there.
Right, I'm going to add some fun, because I'm going to use a hexagon again, and I'm going to cover up even more of the board. So we might be able to be strategic now and start thinking ahead with our moves. Work it out.
I definitely think I'm going to need some help with the next one. What do you think on the chat? How can we win this one? Want to be the person to place the last one. So we've got triangle above the rhombus is one suggestion. Trapezium. Triangle at the bottom. Yes, I think I will pop that triangle at the bottom. So thank you in the chat there for that help.
So I'm just thinking now, this is my thinking. I'm thinking I can see a trapezium here. So if I place that there, it's only triangles left. Who's going to win? Trapezium, so that'd be me, Matt, me, Matt, me. Sorry, Matt.
No. What can we do about this? All right, I'm going to get one of these triangles and pop it here. And hope that Fiona's strategy hasn't worked out.
Right, okay. So there we go.
Oh no, I've only got one. Well, I've got two choices, but neither of them I don't think are going to allow me to win. Right, I need to spin this round. There we go. That's right. I'll pop that one in there. Oh, Fiona.
Sorry, Matt. Another
happening
time, maybe
again.
another time. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well done, Fiona. Congratulations. I'm going to have to keep trying to beat you on our next extravaganza. Very good. Anyone notice and can put in the chat what happened with all those shapes? What was special about it when we started putting them on the board? Did anyone notice, I wonder? Because that's going to be the basis for our next activity that we're going to do. Anyone in the chat see something that happened when we put them all onto that rhombus? Something very special happened. And you might even know the mathematical word for that. They all fit, yeah, really good. Definitely true.
That had something to do with the angles, because we know the angles were all 60 or 120. Oh, well done. Someone's put the angles as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Right, well, I'll move on, shall I? So we can, otherwise we don't want to run out of time. There we go. Right. Ah, there we are. We've got it coming in. You're absolutely right. So I won't spoil it yet, but if you look at these patterns as well, these all fit together. There's no gaps, there's no overlapping, they all fit in. Now, some of these are things that we've made, like paving, brickwork. Some of it's just some patterns that people have drawn and made, but it's got a special word, and the person who put this in is absolutely right. It's tessellating, because the shapes all fit together with no gaps, as I said, and no overlaps. And if we move on to the next screen, I've got some lovely pictures here of some tessellations. So I've got some simple hexagons in the middle, a bit like the honeycomb that we saw, where they all fit together. And then I've got some more, you know, we've got some triangles and squares together. And actually, you've probably noticed it when you've been out and about, or even maybe in your own home. You might have some patterns. It might be in tiles, it might be in your paving slabs in your garden, it might be in your road, it might be in buildings that you go to, but there are lots of tessellating patterns absolutely everywhere. Some are formed in nature, some are man-made that we design ourselves because they look so attractive. They're aesthetically pleasing, we like to look at them. And I've got some quite quirky ones on the right-hand side of the screen where someone's done, I don't know, what jumps out to me with the top right one are cats. I can see lots and lots of orange cats. But if you look really carefully, there's another animal in there as well. I wonder if in the chat you can tell me what you can see. What animal can we see in there as well? Yeah, it's all coming through. Yeah, absolutely. It's a dog. Isn't it clever? I just think that's so clever how they've managed to tessellate irregular shapes, objects. And there's a lovely one with the butterflies as well. Now, there's a natural artist who does some amazing work, or who did do some amazing work, I should say, called Escher. And he did lots of symmetrical and tessellating pieces of artwork that are incredible. So it might be an artist you want to go and have a look at a later time. But here are just a few examples of his work. And you can see there's like a sort of chameleon, sort of dragony sort of thing in the sort of orange and whites and blacks. And in the middle, once again, I can see a fish in yellow that jumps out. And then I can see a green frog as well. I just think, I love it. I think it's so clever. And then there's another one with fish. So that got me thinking, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we could make some irregular tessellations? And if you do this at school, they'd make some lovely displays. So we're going to tessellate. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm actually going to do it so I'm on the spotlight so you can actually see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to move my laptop and move it so that you can see my desk in front of me. Now, to do this, what you need is a square piece of paper, just some scissors and a pen to help out as well. And then you'll also need a bigger sheet of paper, because once I've made my motif that I'm going to tessellate, I'll then need to be able to do that tessellation there. So I'll leave that there. And you also need some sellotape. Okay, so it's quite simple. So I've already just drawn a line for myself, so I've got something to guide me. But what you need to do is you must always start in the corner here. And I'm going to cut corner here, and you can just make any pattern you want. I'm just going to do that. There we go. And I must go from one corner, I must go to the other corner here. Okay, so that's really important that I do it like that. I can't do it in the middle, it won't work, or won't work as well anyway. And then really carefully, now if you're good at cutting out, then you can do it yourself. If you need some help, then obviously get an adult to help you. And you just very carefully cut out. Now, if you do make a little mistake, it doesn't matter. The important thing is we go from corner to corner. Now, once you've cut it out, don't just drop it and put it everywhere, because what's really important is that we must remove that, keep it in that same position, and then move it round and actually then put it the opposite side there. And I get some sellotape and I'm going to stick that into position there. Okay, so that was there, I've moved it and I've now put it there, so it's on the opposite side. Okay, now I get my pen and I just draw another one because I want to make this a really interesting motif. So I'm just going to do some wavy lines there. Once again, notice I've gone from corner to corner. Get my scissors and I cut it out. So once again, just try to make sure you can see it. Do the cutting there. Now I've got my fun is just about to start. So once I've done that, oh, really carefully, I've done that quite tight, haven't I? So remember, I have to remember the exact position, very carefully move it round, put it on the opposite side, get my sellotape. Oh, got to make sure I try to do it exactly so it's right. If you have a bit of a finger that wants to move, it doesn't hurt, right, help, right, there we go. So can you see now, I've just got a funny shape, okay? And what's great about this is you can now get really creative and just use your imagination. So I'm going to get my sheet of paper now, and I have got a pencil. No, do you know what? I'm just going to use my pen. Let's just do pen. Now, I'm going to do this quickly because I don't want you to spend too much time watching me draw around things, but you must be quite careful with how you then draw around your shape. You can put it anywhere you want on the paper. It really doesn't matter, but drawing around it, you've got to be careful. Have a steady hand and just try and make sure you stick to the edge to draw around it. So there we go. And now lift it up and you can see my design. Now, what's clever is I can now find, if I look at my shape, I can see that now slots in there. So I'm going to draw another one. And draw another motif. There we go. Around there, and down to there, to there, and that's it. Now what's really clever is I can just put it wherever I want, as long as I make sure I'm following around. This one goes off the page a bit, but it doesn't matter. Just keep going round, and you just keep doing it. Now I think, oh, how does that shape fit in there? Ah, can you see? Fits in there like that. I'll move it so you can see. And I'm going to stop now and show you. There we go. Just finish this one off. And I can just keep going and just keep adding them in. And then now I'm going to look at it and think, what can I see? Do you know, something really jumps out at me. I'm going to start to draw just like Esha did. I'm going to do some artwork now. And I'm going to see, you know, I can see big eyebrows here. And I'm going to do that. Some bits around the, there we go, just a bit for the ears. And if I turn it around, there we go. I'm going to say it's a wolf. You could say it's a dragon. It doesn't really matter, does it? But I've done one earlier. Let me show you the one where I fills it all in. And there we go. And then you can put some colour to it. And what's nice is someone even suggested if you're doing this as a class, you could have one motif where you all draw your own onto this, and then you could maybe even put your name or something like that on it, and then you'd have a nice display, particularly if it's a new class that you're joining with all your names on as well. So really nice. But, you know, that's just what I've seen. I would love to see some of your designs because I think you could get so creative with how you design this and become an Esha. Do some amazing artwork. But there's so much maths involved because how does this work? Why does it work? So have a think behind that as well. with the maths involved and the shapes that we're forming. Brilliant. Right, let me come back onto the screen, and I'm going to remove the spotlight, share my screen again, just so we can finish off. Okay. So we're back. Great. So I hope you enjoyed that, because I just thought I love art, and I love it when art and maths come together. So I find that just really exciting, because there's so much unknown with it when you start off, which is absolutely fascinating. How about you, Matt? Are you going to start doing some of these?
I'd love to have a go. It's really interesting to see all the different shapes that you can actually end up with. I wouldn't have seen that as a dog, funnily enough. I saw it as a frog when you first did it. And then you turned it around and started drawing the eyes. I thought, goodness, could be anything. That
would be such fun, wouldn't it? If you could do that as a class, and then all of you draw something different in it from what you can see. It would be brilliant to do. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you've enjoyed all of the activities that we've been doing this morning. And I'm afraid we've got to the end of the session. Oh, there we go. That's me just playing around there. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand you back over to Matt, but thank you for joining us. I really hope you're going to do some of these activities either in class, or maybe take them home, maybe show them to mum and dad. But yeah, some really lovely activities. So thank you for joining us.
Brilliant. Thanks, Fiona. So just to really just reiterate what Fiona said at the very beginning about the summer challenge, we've got a really exciting summer challenge all throughout this next term, running a little bit into September. And as you can see, it's called Building for a Greener Future. And I know Fiona said at the beginning that it's really about problem solving, thinking about the environment and how we can help with that global warming problem. We've got a series of 8 projects that you can take, have fun with, develop however you like. And it's really great because you actually get to use your math skills and your science skills together to really ask questions about what's going on and find things out. And all these resources are available to our schools for free, which is great. So you can use them this summer as a standalone activity or as a bit of a project if you're looking for something to do, maybe something with your new class when you want to kind of, when you meet them for the first time, anything. They can be used in a really adaptive way. And you can get these 8 projects and all the information that goes with them by registering your interest in our summer challenge on our website, whizz.com. There's lots more information about there. I know Fiona's made a video for that as well. So do go on there, do sign yourself up and do get those resources, because they're a great way to kind of enjoy the summer, have a bit of a project to do with your class, which is really exciting. Anything to add to that one, Fiona?
No, I noticed that someone's raised their hand, so I don't know if someone can get in contact with you, Matt. I don't know why they've raised their hand, but maybe we can do that offline if that's okay. But yeah, thank you. And there's lots of thank yous coming through with lots of schools saying their name and their class, which is great. So yeah, I've had such a fun time, and I hope you have too. Brilliant.
Thank you, everybody. We're really pleased you could join us for the extravaganza. I hope you've had fun, and join us for our next one.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.